guys, we're actually going to work on our body instruments and make sure that you all are properly doing it the right way and create uniformity in each other. So I'm going to have you guys as stompers, y'all as patters, and clappers. So my stompers, I'm going to have you do something a little different. Go ahead and move your stands out to where you can put a few pieces of paper down. And just put them right down at your feet. So instead of stomping, I'm actually going to have you do something more similar to a foot tap. So whenever you do your rhythm, go ahead and keep your heel down on the ground and just as if you were tapping. So, and then the paper is to help make it audiate more so you can actually be heard instead of on the carpet. All right, patters, go ahead and sit at the edge of your seat and tuck your feet slightly in. And then you're going to use right above your kneecaps. Yeah, there you go. All right, and clappers. All right, so I'm going to have you take your left hand and slightly curve it. Now take your right hand and you're going to put the knuckles right here, right in the center. So it'll make a very audible sound. All right, so let's go ahead. Stompers, go ahead and try again. Good. Patters. Clappers. Awesome. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clap 4-beat rhythms, and I'm going to clap it, and then y'all are going to repeat after me, and we're just going to go back and forth. I'm just going to let y'all know there are a few rhythms that have a rest at the end, so be sure to count the full 4 notes before you come in. Right? Ready? And go ahead and do it on your own respective parts. Okay, go ahead and turn your music over. Does anything look familiar to what we just played?
The second line immediately.
That was the first 4 measures.
Yeah, it was the first 4 measures. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to do it again, but we're just all going to look at the second line, and we're going to play the first 4 measures all together in unison. All right, everybody get ready? Ready? Okay, let's do that one more time and really get that rhythmic accuracy. Be sure to count those rests and really release on those rests. Ready? Do it again, but everybody's going to start on their own parts. So the patters are going to come in first, and then who comes in next? Yes, stompers, and then the clappers. And we're going to go all the way from measure 1 to the end of measure 6. Okay? Ready? Good. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Corbin, right. Be sure to really feel that syncopation. I know it's kind of difficult with them doing 16ths. You just have to be really strong and independent on your part and use that subdivision that's in your head and in your heart. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Measure 1 through measure 6. Ready? Much better, very good. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's talk about what we just did. Can anybody tell me what compositional technique is used in this piece? Yeah, it's a canon, obviously, by the title. What can y'all tell me about canons? Like maybe some characteristics or a description of it. Tell me about what exactly makes a canon a canon.
It's the same part, but it starts at different times.
That's right, that's right. Can any of y'all give me an example of some other pieces that we might know?
Row,
that are...
row, row your boat.
Yeah, that works. That rounds and cannons are very similar. Any other pieces?
Canon indeed.
There we go. Has canon in the word. That will work. All right. Alrighty, so now that we know that this piece is a canon, we can kind of understand the rest of how this piece is going to be played out. So let's go ahead and move on to the second phrase, which starts at measure 7. And I'm going to give y'all just a few seconds to go ahead and look at from measure 7 to measure 12, that's the second phrase. Compare it to the first phrase and see if you can notice anything that's relative to it. And if you don't, it's okay. My feelings will not be
Is
hurt.
it backwards?
Yeah, exactly. It's just mirrored. So the second phrase is the first phrase mirrored in a canon. So you're practically, you already know the second phrase because it's pretty much the same rhythms as the first. So since we know what that is, let's go ahead and we're going to play from measure 7 to measure 12. All right? Get ready? Okay, good. Let's do that one more time just for rhythmic stability. Keith, I'm sorry I didn't instruct you. You're going to be a clapper too. And yeah, I know that you have to rely on each other's parts to make sure you're in time, but also be very independent and very have integrity with your part and just really feel that subdivision. So let's go ahead and start at measure 7 again and go to measure 12. Ready? Alrighty, good job, guys. Okay, so now that we have a feel of what the first phrase and the second phrase is, let's put it together now. So we're going to start from measure 1 to measure 12. And if I could ask of you this time, since you understand the rhythms a little bit more, go ahead and focus on some of those dynamics and those accents in there and really bring them out. Since we have a bit more rhythmic stability, I think we can really make it more musical this time. All right, starting at measure 1, going through measure 12. Ready? Okay, let's start it. Sorry. All right, let's start. Ready? Awesome, okay. Now let's go ahead and move on, and we're gonna look, it's gonna be a bigger chunk this time, but we're gonna look at measure 13 to the third beat of measure 25. So go ahead and look at this area a little bit, and can you tell me some things that might be different in this phrase than from the first section?
We have the same opening statement in 13, just not rhythmically chopped. Like it's a quarter full on the fourth beat instead of an eighth.
That's right.
It's less of a canon and more passing off the parts.
Yeah, exactly. And what about texture? What about texture, especially starting at measure 17?
Thinner.
Yeah, it's a very thin texture and it's very isolated. So especially around measure 17 to about measure 21, you have to really focus in on subdivision and really feeling your part because you are going to be independent and it is going to be very isolated. Don't be afraid to play out and just really try your best to really keep that rhythmic integrity. So let's go ahead and start at measure 13 and go all the way to 25. Okay, ready? Awesome, okay. Yeah, so as you can tell, it was a little bit harder this time because it was isolated. Think about a French horn and how they play in marches. They play a lot of upbeats, right? What do they use commonly to, or what do they think of to help them play that upbeat in the right place?
Subdivision.
subdivision, but more, what other part do they think of? They can't just think of the upbeat as, oh, there's an upbeat, oh, there's an upbeat. Yeah, the downbeat. So if you really feel that downbeat on the rest, you can really bring out that upbeat. So let's go ahead and play measure 13 through 25 again. And really focus on the subdivision again and focus on that downbeat to really come up on that upbeat. And the dynamics were a lot better this time around. Let's go ahead and focus on them just a little bit more. Bring out that drastic change. All right, starting at measure 13 to measure 25. Ready? Alrighty, we got that. Okay, let's move on to measure actually the very end of measure 25. We're gonna start on the third beat of measure 25 and just go to the end. So, as you can tell, the rest of the piece is in unison, so be really sure to listen across to other sections and try to match them in terms of dynamics, staying in time, articulation style, and let's just try to really match each other. And it's at fortissimo, so really bring it out. Alright, starting at beat 3 of measure 25. Ready? Alrighty, let's go ahead and run over back to the first measure. We're going to play it all the way through. Really focus on those dynamic contrasts and those accents as well. Ready?
I thought your pacing was really nice, especially for the as much things that you got done in this example. Not only did we work on rhythm and make sure it was precise, as well as you assessing the ensemble very well, and then we got to add in dynamics and some contrast. So that was pretty good.
I really enjoyed like your overall teacher presence, and I love your knowledge of this piece and comparing it to like other like real life pieces.
You're very like excited to be in front of people and like happy and full of energy, which most of us at 8 in the morning are not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only I guess suggestion that I would make is just a little bit of more shortening the amounts of things that you want to do at a certain time, or just a little more what are we trying to say? Commands rather than, will you? So it was
I gotcha.
very. I don't really remember it that much, but just shorten it a little bit.
Okay.
The French horn analogy, where we know that we get it.
Yeah.
And I'm a violist, I get it. Check checks. But knowing in your classroom, that maybe wasn't the specific analogy for them.
Yeah.
So you knew your audience, and that was good, but just think about if you were in a different situation, what other analogy you would use, and other strategy could they have stomped or breathed on the beat so that they could find that rest. So using a different strategy, that's all.
I wrote that all of these things were so wonderful, and the only other suggestion that I have is that you could use your conjuncting gesture as a rehearsal technique, because I think you're that far advanced in your sequencing and planning and knowing how things are going to go. So in that particular instance, you could have helped us by, like give those, that we call them, it's a slash. In Laban, you've studied the Laban effort elements with Dr. Allen, right? Do y'all have connecting with Dr. Allen?
Yeah.
Did you do the stuff with the dance professor
Yeah.
and all the different elements, dab and
We
flick
didn't
and
do that our year.
Okay.
He took it out.
Okay. Well, these exist. And so you would just make a really fast, quick, sharp motion in order and be very dry. So, to help us along the way. That would be the only thing that I would say to incorporate for next time is just to go that one step further in addition to your great sequencing and instruction and use your conducting.
Okay.
Okay? Yay.